Dr. Jackson, members of the Institute Board of Trustees, honorands, alumni and friends, I'd like to welcome you this afternoon to the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Jeff Shantz. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Alumni Relations and Executive Director of the Rensselaer Alumni Association. In 1995, the Rensselaer Alumni Association, with the full endorsement of the Institute Board of Trustees, created the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame to preserve and celebrate the exceptional heritage of alumni and alumni accomplishments throughout the years. The stories of these innovators, pioneers, and entrepreneurs provide a powerful source of inspiration for all who follow in their paths and who, like them, will continue to shape our world. 7 individuals have been selected this year for induction into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame, bringing the total membership to just 79. The 2015 class of inductees, scientific instrument makers, the inventor of the floppy disk, a legendary lighting designer, a pioneer in the science of light, and developers of MRI technology, carries on this tradition of Rensselaer's distinguished legacy. At this time, I would like to recognize the members of the selection committee and publicly thank them for their hard work. I'm confident that when we introduce the newest Hall of Fame members, you will agree that this committee was successful in selecting the best of the best. Would the members of the selection committee present this afternoon please stand and be recognized? Now, as many of you know, the selection committee presents to the general alumni population a ballot. Would members of the Hall of Fame balloting committee please stand and be recognized? And now it's my great pleasure again to bring Dr. Jackson back to the podium. Dr. Jackson.
Thank you, Jeff. You know, the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame is a relatively recent innovation here at Rensselaer. Its inaugural class dating just back to 1998. But it is an important development, and as we approach the 200th anniversary of our founding in 2024, we want to ensure that our history resides not merely in books and in library archives, but also in the very consciousness and aspirations of the entire Rensselaer family. Now, we're very pleased to have a current member of our Alumni Hall of Fame with us today, as well as 2 family members representing others. So as I read your names, please stand and remain standing. Dr. Nancy Deloy Fitzroy of the class of 1949. Dr. Fitzroy is an internationally recognized and honored expert in the field of heat transfer and fluid flow, and the first woman to lead the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, as well as the first woman to receive the Davies Medal for Engineering Achievement from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute School of Engineering. Nancy. Mr. David Gerber. I hope he's here. Well, I'll tell you about the honorand. Now, David Gerber is a member of our class of 1986, and he's the son of H. Joseph Gerber of the class of 1947. The elder Mr. Gerber was inducted into the inaugural class of Alumni Hall of Fame in 1998. A Holocaust survivor, he invented a revolutionary engineering tool, the Gerber variable scale, while still a junior at Rensselaer. He went on to pioneer the marriage between computation and manufacturing, transforming industry after industry. Mr. Gerber held more than 650 patents, many of which are on display in the Smithsonian Institution. And David Gerber, the son, has written a delightful book about his father's extraordinary life and career titled The Inventor's Dilemma, which will be published by the Yale University Press later this month. Is Mrs. Janie Gibson Daggs here today? There she is. She is the first cousin thrice removed of Garnett Douglas Baltimore of the Rensselaer class of 1881. He was a distinguished civil engineer and landscape designer, and in fact, he designed Prospect Park, one of the greatest treasures of the city of Troy. Mr. Baltimore, in fact, was the first African American to earn a bachelor's degree from Rensselaer. Thank you for being here. We also have a special guest, and I hope he's here, Mr. Martin Gordonier of the Rensselaer class of 2001. Mr. Gordonier is the CEO of Gurley Precision Instruments here in Troy, the company founded by William Gurley of the class of 1839, and Louis E. Gurley of the class of 1845, who will be inducted into our Hall of Fame today. We're so pleased that you could join us. And before we induct the newest members, we have a short video to show you about the Rensselaer Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Today, we celebrate the achievements of all inductees into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame, some of the brightest minds who have ever attended Rensselaer. Their achievements in engineering, science, and the arts have truly changed the world. Dr. Jackson, the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame Selection Committee is pleased to present to you the 2015 inductees into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame. Each inductee will receive a glass replica of the windows that line Thompson Hall in the David M. Darren Communications Center. We are pleased to begin this ceremony by inducting William Gurley, class of 1839, and Louis E. Gurley, class of 1845. I would like to ask Carolyn Gurley Esty, great-granddaughter of Louis E. Gurley, to join Dr. Jackson at center stage, please. After working several years as a surveyor, William Gurley joined with his brother, Louis, in founding W&L.E. Gurley, one of the first manufacturers of precision measuring instruments in the United States. As the country expanded westward, the creation of new states, counties, and townships required surveys and mapping. W&L.E. Gurley was able to meet the growing demand for surveying equipment and establish an unsurpassed reputation for high-quality products. The firm prospered and soon became the largest manufacturer of engineers and surveyors' instruments in the United States and grew to international prominence. Gurley supplied instruments to major engineering projects and expeditions, including the Antarctic explorations of Admiral Byrd. During World War II, the company earned high honors from the Army and Navy for achievement in the production of war equipment. William Gurley served as a trustee of Rensselaer, and both brothers were civic leaders of institutions in Troy. In 1983, the W&L.E. Gurley Building, built in Troy in 1862, was named a National Historic Landmark. We are pleased to induct William Gurley and Louis E. Gurley into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson and Dr. Shands. My name is Carolyn Gurley Esty. I am honored to accept this award on behalf of my great-grandfather, Louis Ephraim Gurley, and his brother, William. I learned yesterday in the New York State Library Special Collections just how close they were as brothers as well as business partners. I read these lines in a letter written by William, age 54, to Louis, age 49. He was in Florence, Italy, on October 26, 1875. He had been looking for parts for their instruments, such as a Walther eyepiece and aluminum wire from France. They were the first surveying instrument manufacturers to use aluminum in the instruments. So this particular date, October 26th, William was very sentimental because 1 year earlier, their mother had died. Their father had died when they were boys, and they were raised by their mother. So he writes to Louis, October 26, 1875, "My dear brother, always dear, but never more loved. I think it is worth something to you and me to be separated a little while, to know how dear we are to each other, how all that life and its toils and successes have endeared us, each to the other. It seems to me as if I had never felt it before, and yet I know that few brothers have ever been so closely allied in everything as we are. The letter ends, "With great love, I am truly your William." Here at RPI today, it is truly an honor to accept this award. On Monday, I will be donating the award to the Hudson Mohawk Industrial Gateway for their display about the Gurley brothers. Thank you very much for this great honor for my great-grandfather and his brother, and I thank you, RPI, on behalf of all of our Gurley extended family members. Thank you.
Our next inductee is David L. Noble, class of 1940. I would like to ask Miss Lynn Noble, daughter of David Noble, to join Dr. Jackson at center stage. David Noble conceived and led the design and development at IBM of the 8-inch flexible floppy disk, an associated disk drive mechanism. In 1967, when punched cards were still being used for data entry and software programming, Noble was asked to develop a new way to load microcode into IBM's mainframe computers. He proposed an entirely new device, an 8-inch diameter flexible memory disk. Besides inventing the device itself, Noble and his team enclosed the disk in a plastic sleeve lined with fabric that moved dust particles from the surface as it rotated, providing an ease of handling and protection that led to widespread acceptance of the floppy disk. The original flexible disk drive, introduced by IBM in 1971, launched a major new segment of the computer industry, enabling the personal computer revolution and emergence of an independent software industry. The floppy disk icon has become a universal symbol for saving files. And during World War II, Noble was recognized for invaluable service to Navy code-breaking activities. We are pleased to induct Mr. David L. Noble, class of 1940, into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
I can't tell you how thrilled I am to have my father's work recognized in the Rensselaer Hall of Fame. I thank the selection committee and everyone associated with this great honor. In preparation for this event, I reread a chapter written by my father in a 1999 IEEE publication titled Magnetic Recording, The First 100 Years. I'm embarrassed to say that no matter how many times I read this chapter, I just don't understand the technology and the science behind the flexible disk and the disk drive. What I do understand is that that technology became critical to the acceptance and use of mini and personal computers. Of course, there were many iterations and modifications over the years to make the diskettes smaller and faster with improved capacity and density, but I think we can agree that the flexible disk and disk drive have stood the test of time. Soon, the floppy disk icon, known by some as that save button, will be replaced but not forgotten because of a window at the Darren Communications Center at Rensselaer. Thank you.
Our next inductee is William M. Klages, class of 1947. Mr. Klages, would you please join Dr. Jackson at center stage? Bill Klages is an award-winning lighting designer who has been associated with some of the most outstanding productions in television history. He began his career in theatrical lighting with the National Broadcasting Company, practically at the network's inception. After establishing his reputation with live black and white television dramas, he lit landmark shows of early television starring entertainment legends Milton Berle, Sid Caesar, Perry Como. In the decades that follow, he lit an array of acclaimed entertainment specials for such luminaries as Barbra Streisand, Bob Hope, Liza Minnelli, and award shows including the Emmy Awards, the Grammy Awards, and the Kennedy Center Honors. Klages also designed the lighting for grand-scale special events, such as the 1984 Summer Olympics closing ceremonies. With more than 300 lighting credits to his name, he has won 7 Primetime Emmy Awards and received 23 Emmy nominations. In 2012, he was the first lighting designer and only the 3rd designer overall to be inducted into the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Hall of Fame. We are pleased to induct Mr. William M. Klages, class of 1947, into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My first association with Rensselaer was in high school, where I was given the Rensselaer Medal. It was during World War II, and I had accelerated my high school term to get a little college in prior to military service. So, at 16, I went to Rensselaer. I had a definite advantage, I felt, over my students. Having won this medal, I had an advantage over the classmates because I was able to, with no hesitation whatsoever, spell Rensselaer. Subsequently, I was accepted into the Navy V-12 program and luckily continued at Rensselaer. By the time I graduated, the war was over, so I was released from active duty and took the commission in the Naval Reserve. Because of my engineering background, I was hired by the National Broadcasting Company as an engineer in their fledgling television department. To give you an idea of what it was like at that time, the network got to Chicago, but just barely. Radio was dominant, right? And people that were outside of Chicago, their method of viewing was to watch recordings made on 16mm film directly off the cathode ray tube. The next is a plug from Hall of Fame, Alan B. Dumont. Right. I was intrigued with the role of lighting and became a lighting director. And what I always have found most fascinating is that after you've satisfied the lighting for the system's requirements, you're called upon, the elements of theatricality must be created. And that's what kept me interested. So today, I am very grateful to receive the recognition and honor of being inducted into the RPI Alumni Hall of Fame, and to have this opportunity to express my gratitude for the education and inspiration that Rensselaer provided me. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Dr. Stephen Harris, class of 1959. Now, Dr. Harris is on the West Coast and is unable to be with us today, but please allow me to read a little bit about what he has done. Stephen Harris has been recognized for his pioneering and profoundly influential contributions to the science of light. His groundbreaking research in nonlinear optics set the tone for a career of many firsts. A professor emeritus of electrical engineering and applied physics at Stanford University, Harris is known for his work in the fields of lasers, quantum electronics, nonlinear optics, and atomic physics. Examples of his early contributions include the observation of parametric down conversion, the invention of the tunable acoustic optic filter, and the demonstration of laser-induced collisions. His technique for making lasers that could operate without requiring a population inversion led to the first observation of electromagnetically induced transparency and its use for nonlinear optical processes. With his successful demonstration of the slowing of speed of light, a new field of optics was born. Harris is a member of the National Academy of Sciences, the National Academy of Engineering, and the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. In 2013, he was named an honorary member of the Optical Society of America, one of only 45 such members elected since the society was founded in 1916. As I mentioned, Dr. Harris does send his regrets, and he is not here, but we are pleased to induct him into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame. I would like to invite Dr. John F. Schenck, class of 1961, to join Dr. Jackson at center stage. John Schenck was a key member of the research team at General Electric that developed the first clinically viable high-field MRI scanner. An emergency room physician, as well as a research scientist, Schenck became the first researcher at General Electric to work full-time with magnetic resonance imaging. He served as a principal leader of the team that proposed using a magnet rated at 1.5 Tesla, more than 5 times as high as had previously been used for whole-body human imaging. In 1982, his team produced the first high-field MRI prototype, and Schenck himself became the first subject of the first high-field magnetic resonant brain scan. It's called confidence in his work. This high-field strength, along with the key scanner components developed by his team, became industry standards for MRI and the technology that has become a vital and widely used innovation, now basic to medical practice. Schenck is an authority on MRI safety, whose published works have served as a guide to the industry in how it is regulated and managed. We are pleased to induct Dr. John F. Schenck, class of 1961, into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. It's been my good fortune to spend 8 years at RPI and another 5 at Albany Medical College, and then 30 years at the General Electric Research Laboratories, working on the application of magnetic resonance to medicine. During that time, I have been supported to an almost beyond belief by my mother and my father, my wife Susan Kalia, my children and grandchildren, brothers and sisters, and other family members, many of whom are here today. I have also been supported by my teachers and my colleagues at the GE labs, particularly my colleague and friend, Dr. Howard Hart, who is also here today. I'm surprised and honored to be included among this very distinguished group, many of whom I have known and admired for many years. This induction is very important to me, and I am very pleased and appreciative of this recognition. Thank you very much.
Our final inductee this afternoon is Dr. E. Trifon Laskaris, class of 1974. Dr. Laskaris, we invite you to join Dr. Jackson at center stage. The pioneering contributions of E. Trifon Laskaris to the design and construction of superconducting magnets have had a major impact on magnetic resonance imaging, a technology that helped revolutionize modern medicine. A chief scientist at GE and a prolific inventor, Laskaris has been awarded more than 200 patents. His groundbreaking work refined and scaled prototype designs for the superconducting magnets that form the core of GE's MRI systems, beginning with the 1.5 Tesla magnets that became the industry standard for MRI machines. Laskaris developed a succession of increasingly sophisticated, higher and higher field magnets for MRI systems, both open and closed, which led to improved image quality and better diagnosis. In the 1990s, he developed a design for a double donut MRI machine that is open vertically, enabling surgeons to image patients during surgery, particularly brain surgery. A member of the National Academy of Engineering, Laskaris has also made pioneering contributions to the development of superconducting rotating machines for power generations. It is an honor to induct Dr. E. Trifon Laskaris, class of 1974, into the Rensselaer Alumni Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson and Shans. I'm deeply honored with the nomination into the RPI Hall of Fame, and I'm very pleased to accept this award. I have attended the RPI doctoral program in the early 70s while working at the GE Global Research Center and graduated in 1974. I still remember the long commute to attend these evening classes. I have spent most of my career at the GE Global Research in the field of applied superconductivity, including 30 years in advancing the technology of magnetic resonance magnets. I have been very fortunate in my career to work with a team of very talented people who made a difference to push the boundaries of technology and innovation in research. It's a great honor to receive this award. Thank you.
So again, let me congratulate our distinguished inductees and their families, and I want to thank all of our alumni and alumnae for remaining such an important part of the Rensselaer family, for giving us invaluable guidance and support, and frankly, for allowing me to sum up the state of the Institute this afternoon. And so I hope you truly enjoy the rest of the weekend. You know that the sun is shining because you are the sunshine.